What we're going to be doing here today is providing the patient with a heat pressure cured resin temporary crown that has high strength, high aesthetics, and can be used in those special cases where your patients are very concerned with the aesthetics, or that you're concerned with being able to maintain occlusion. This new DC2 temporary crown form utilizes the same numbering guide that you would have in the polycarbonate crown shelf kit that you get from Direct Crown. However, the numbering system is on the insides of the DC2 crown shelf form, and what you would do is find the one that fits the proper quadrant, go in, measure it, make sure that it's fitting your patient appropriately, check to see what the with maximum intercuspation, what the fit is, and in this particular situation it appears like we're fitting down nicely. If you take a look, the interproximals look like they're matched up very well. The patented windows utilized in this that are unique to Direct Crown, you will see will allow us to be able to get the interproximal contacts exactly where we want them to be. Now, you have to make a decision at this point. We know that it fits, we know that it's been trimmed up appropriately, and you have to decide whether you're going to be placing this temporary restoration in with acrylic or with Bis Acryl. This first demonstration I'm going to utilize Bis Acryl, and to utilize these DC2 crown forms, what you're going to have to do is air abrade the internal aspects of this crown shell in order to roughen the surface, in order to get the Bis Acryl material to stick to it. What I will do here, demonstration purposes, let's assume that this temporary restoration has been air abraded. The next step is that we have to activate the surface of the crown shell form with a surface activating material. Today we're going to be utilizing the Adenbond from Parkel, and we'll take a little drop of Adenbond, put it into a Dappen dish. So we have the Adenbond going into the Dappen dish, and we will take a brush and we will apply the Adenbond to all the surfaces that we want our Bis Acryl material to stick to. The Adenbond is a very good surface reactivation material to be used specifically with this DC2 temporary crown shell. Once we have the Adenbond placed, what we're going to do is light cure it for 10 seconds, making sure that once we're cured, that we don't touch any of the surfaces that have a oxygen inhibited layer on them. All right, there's 10 seconds. We're going to take a very good Bis Acryl material. This particular material we're using today is going to be Smart Temp. I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my hand and then load the shell, the temporary DC2 crown shell, with the Bis Acryl. And we'll be going back to the patient at this point, placing it over the tooth. You can see the excesses coming out, mesial and distally. We're going to have the patient close into maximum intercuspation again. And we'll let the material set. Now, as we're letting this material set, I can test the little swatch on the back of my hand. And once it gets a good rubbery stage, we're going to tease it on and off the tooth so we don't get locked into the interproximal undercuts. And it's starting to get a little bit of a set here, and a little bit rubbery. Check it in the mouth. Still a little bit runny in the mouth. Now, the difference here is this is going to be outside the patient's mouth, and it's going to set a little, generally a little bit slower than what's in the patient's mouth. Conversely, when we're using a model, it's going to set a little slower on the model than it does outside the mouth. So I'm going to continue checking that until it starts to set fairly firmly. And it's starting to get a little bit of a rubbery stage. Have the patient open up, tease this off from, I can tease the excess off first of all, and then tease it off from the tooth. In this case, I'm going to use an instrument because I let it get a little bit long in there. But tease it up so that we can get it out from underneath those undercuts. Do that multiple times to make sure that you have a path of insertion and removal. We're going to let that fully harden in the patient's mouth. Once the lining material has completely set, what we will do is remove it from the tooth, and I'll show you a bit here how nice the adaptation is of the materials into the crown shell form. We'll go back to the lab with the DC2 crown shell form at this point and trim it and adjust it till we can bring it back to the patient. The final lined and polished DC2 crown form here is then taken back to the patient and verified that we have full seating, we have our interproximal contours the way that we'd like them to be, the embrasures are filled appropriately. Once everything's verified that the bite is okay, we then cement the final restoration with a good provisional or temporary cement.